What's up, everybody? This is BakaBites. I'm Frankfurter. That is Magically Average, and today, let's talk about Mal. There's a lot of contention going on with Mal right now due to the last season of anime and the new
Doo-doo.
number one. What? Doo-doo? Is that what you're saying? You just
It's
wanted to interrupt me just to say doo-doo?
it's that type of night. I'm sorry. Continue.
It's okay. I love you, buddy. I know my brain is fried too. But yeah, no, there's a lot of contention going on with Mal. There's a lot of people who are very upsetty spaghetti because there's a new number one and it's not even close. And I do want to get into that, but at the same time, I do also want to just talk about Mal as a whole and what it offers, and then other kind of anime rating websites that you can go to if you're not, wanting what Mal is providing.
hmm
So let's hop into just real quick the rankings. MyAnimeList has been around the block for a while, a very long time. I want to say a very long time, but I don't actually know how long they've been around. But they've been around the block for quite a while, and they're the biggest known anime ranking website out there. And for the longest time, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has been the number one show overall, and for good reason. It is a phenomenal show. But minus, the handful of times that it's replaced at number one during a season, it usually takes the top spot back because either the fanboys and girls of FMAB will just downvote whatever's at number one, or the rest of the show that was at number one temporarily comes out and everybody realizes, okay, this isn't a 10 out of 10, this isn't a 9 out of 10. Let's pump the brakes and bring it back down.
Yeah.
However, as I've said, we have a new number one, and that new number one is Freerun. And I think trying to compare Full Metal Alchemist and Freerun is really just unfair and dumb. But a lot of these people are like, no, Full Metal Alchemist is the better show. No, Freerun's the better show. And it's like you can't even compare the two because of so many different factors. One, they're a season and a series, like a complete series. You're trying to compare a season and a complete series, which I think is a bit unfair. There are a handful of older shows that do this weird thing where the entire series is the show rather than breaking it up into seasons, because they do, in fact, have seasons.
Right.
I think another older show like that would be Hunter x Hunter or Gintama, hell, even One Piece. You can
Cowboy
break One
Bebop.
Piece into arcs. Cowboy Bebop is open close though. It's really short. It's not
But
necessarily
it's
season.
well, I was gonna say like it is in the same vein though as like Full Metal Alchemist or Brotherhood in that it's
But
all
Brotherhood,
encapsulated.
yeah, but at the same time, Brotherhood, you could definitely break that up into seasons. There are
You
different
could.
or arcs, like if you wanted to break One Piece up, because One Piece is all in one big chunk on Mal as well. But yeah, but like you're basically comparing a full series to a season. Now, do I think that Freerun had the better season compared to a season of Full Metal Alchemist? You know what? Honestly, yeah. Depending on which season of Full Metal I'm watching, or which arc of it I'm watching, yeah, I think so. But at the same time, as a full series, we don't know what Freerun's all about quite yet.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, okay, as a whole encapsulating series comparing to a whole encapsulating season, while it's not fair, I do prefer season one of Freerun over any specific arc or season of Full Metal Alchemist. As a full series, I prefer Full Metal Alchemist over the one season we have of Freerun. And
Yeah.
I think that that's how people need to compare it, and they
But
see that their favorite show isn't number one, and they go into a blind rage of fury.
so real quick, Mal was created in 2006 officially, so it's 18 years old. It's an adult.
God dang.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but you just highlighted the biggest issue with MyAnimeList or Mal, in that a lot of the shows are not grouped by season, but all of the new shows are.
Yeah.
So, like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, One Piece, even Dragon Ball, like Dragon Ball Z is just all, what, 300 or 285, 320 episodes, something like that. I think even like the original Bleach is like
The original Bleach definitely is.
yeah, even though it was clearly like you can break it up into very clear arcs over the 357 episodes that has too. I'm spitballing off the top of my head. It's roughly around that. But that's a big issue with Mal in general, is that a lot of the series that are towards the top of the list, or, you know, most of the older series in general, are not grouped out by season. But now, with how anime is coming out season to season, all of the ratings are for the individual seasons themselves. So that's why, like, people get up in arms when they're like, where's Attack on Titan? What's going on with Attack on Titan? It's like Attack on Titan's up there, but it's split between season 1, season 2 part 1, season 2 part 2, season 3 part 1, season 3 part, like, it's all the different parts of Attack on Titan that have their own dedicated Mal listing that has its own dedicated ranking. Mal doesn't rank all of Attack on Titan is grouped together. It's all individually. So I think that's like one big key issue with MyAnimeList is that, to your point, we're looking at Full Metal Alchemist, which is not only a completed series, but it's all it's all encompassing in terms of just one unified series from like episode 1 to the final episode. Yeah. To now we're having to compare individual seasons of an anime. I mean, that's why like Oshinoko didn't last. That's why Kaguya-sama season 3 didn't last. That's why most likely Frierin's not even going to last. I mean, there's a high probability that that's just going to get tanked because either people are going to go in there and purposely do it, or people are going to start watching it and go, I mean, it was good. It's not that great. Yeah. So I think that's like one key piece to keep in mind is that when it comes to anime rankings specifically on MyAnimeList, you're not looking at the series. You're looking at moving forward.
Currently,
you're not looking at a series. You're looking at a season. And that's a really clear distinction to keep in mind.
Yeah.
The other piece I wanted to touch on, though, too, is that in my opinion, the rankings should be divvied up into multiple tiers. We should have seasonal rankings, we should have yearly ranking, and then we should have a finale, like a finale ranking, like all the series that have finished. Right.
So you want to break them out even into more categorized, like, hey, ongoing series, here you go. Completed series, here you go. Seasonal series, here you go.
Yeah, because I think that gives a really good image especially for people that are looking into watching a new anime. Because a lot of people use MyAnimeList just for what we're talking about, which is going in, ranking animes, shouting your opinions online, telling people why they're wrong, this and that and the other thing. There are people that go to sites like MyAnimeList and Anime Trends and all these other anime like ranking system sites to figure out like, hey, what's a new anime I should watch? Or what's like a classic anime that people think really highly of that I should watch? That's why I think MyAnimeList should split it up into different categories, because if I'm a new anime fan, I'm going in and being like, all right, what series has wrapped up that I can jump into and that fits these like 2 or 3 criteria, right? Yeah. And I can go find something that's completed that way. And that's maybe like I'm looking at a list of like top 25, right? Or I'm like, you know what? I've been watching a lot of new anime. I want to watch something obscure that came out over the last year. Give me like something over the last year, but still ranked pretty well that maybe was not on my radar. I can quickly go in and see that too. The issue is that everyone just goes to that main page of like, here it is, the best of the best, baby. And it's so confusing because, you have Frieren, and it's like, oh man, Frieren, it's going to be the greatest show ever. Yeah, let's watch it. And you realize, I just watched 1 season. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's all. It's like there's more, right? Yeah, but it's just the 1 season. Okay. Versus again, like shows like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood or Cowboy Bebop, wherever that's at, or Steins Gate. Steins Gate's up there as well as being
Gate is number 3.
Yeah. So I think that's one aspect of MyAnimeList, like I shouldn't even say one aspect, the main aspect of MyAnimeList that I feel like should be changed in terms of the ranking system is that it should be grouped into different buckets to not only help viewers, new and old, but to provide a more accurate representation of the rankings of a show, right? Because like for us, I'll speak for the both of us. All right. I'll take a bold step forward. I'm sleepy, but I'll take a bold step, speak for the both of us. Okay. We would probably both rank season 1 of Attack on Titan as like a 9. Right.
I can tell you exactly what I ranked it because
there you go.
I was looking at like, hey, what are the rankings for like, where is Attack on Titan in this top 50 list?
Yeah.
And season 3, part 2 is the highest ranked, and then the final season, part 1, the final season, I think part 2, I don't know.
Whatever is probably towards the bottom. Yeah. Well, so that's what I was going to point out is like Attack on Titan is a great example of an anime in terms of how much it fluctuated in terms of how much we enjoyed it. Like season 1 was high, season 2 was pretty mediocre. Season 3 was like exceptional, like absolutely perfect. And then season 4 was a really, really big letdown. It was like high at the beginning and then just kept quickly dropping and dropping and dropping. And so if you look at the rankings, it's like, you know, it would look like Attack on Titan's not that bad. But if I were to group it overall and give it a ranking, I'd give it probably like a 7.5, right on there, like pretty average, like not bad, but not great.
I think that the final season does bring it down a shit ton, but to put into perspective, season 1 I did give it 9 out of 10.
Aha, see, look at that.
So, but yeah, and then you go to season 4, and my rankings were 5-star or 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 4 out of 10.
Yeah,
like it was just bad. But and I definitely have, like, in the past when I was first really getting into anime, I did use this top anime like series list of like, okay, what should I watch next? There are still a handful of top 10 shows that I haven't dove into. Main one being Gintama, which takes up 3 out of the 10 spots. It's still forever on the backlist, but it's just one of those things. Like, I used to use this list as well for, you know, ranking, or not ranking, but just like to get a recommendation.
Yeah.
And it's interesting though, because like I think when you were saying that you want to break it into categories, theoretically they do have categories, but they're not well specified in the sense of what we are wanting. They have the all-time top. They have the top airing, top upcoming, which makes no sense because you can't rank upcoming shows that haven't aired yet.
Well, I mean, unless you read the manga and you can just guesstimate.
Nope, like I literally click into the top upcoming and it's just like there's 0 stars. It's just what's coming out soon. Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's based off of what everything else is ranked. But
everything's just a competition on that side.
Yeah, but then it's like best TV series, best movies, best OVAs, best ONAs, top specials, most popular, and then most favorited. So it's really just bland.
Yeah, but and I guess I haven't researched it enough, like in depth, to determine this. So maybe you can do it on the fly. But like,
sure.
Like if you were to go to best new series or whatever, right? I'm assuming Frieren would be at the top because it would be categorized as a new series.
So there's no new series. There's top airing, which is currently airing. So right now, One Piece is number 1. Because it's never not airing.
Right. But so my question would be, is the One Piece ranking for best airing the same as the One Piece ranking for all time? Yeah. So that's an inaccuracy, right? And that's what I'm trying to get at is like the system you should be able to rank the anime based on season and then overall show. Right. That's why Full Metal. I mean, again, I don't want to upset all of the FMAB bros and gals out there. Okay, because I adore this anime. This was like the first one that really got me back into it when I was in college. That's kind of why Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has had the upper hand, is that they have had it's grouped as one complete series. Not by arc, not by season. It's just one complete series of the 65, 62 episodes it is.
64, yeah.
Yeah. And so, split the difference. And then, so it's hard for all the new anime coming out to compete with it. Right. Because you're ranking it by season. So like the anime as a whole. So let's imagine a world where Frieren season 2 is one of the worst things to come out. Let's imagine things like Promised Neverland, right?
I was going to say we could just talk about Promised Neverland and how the first season's a 10 out of 10, and then the last season or second season or the last season just didn't happen.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So imagine a world in which the Promised Neverland took the number 1 spot and has held it ever since it aired, like for the season 1 completed, right? So based on Mal and how the rankings work, Promised Neverland to this date would still be the number 1, even though season 2 would have probably received some of the worst reviews on Mal possible. But it doesn't matter because season 1's number 1, right?
Right.
Like that is a complete inaccurate representation of what people believe to be the actual number 1 anime, right? And again, it just goes to the fact that the top list is not based on show, it's based on season. That's why I think having those buckets is key.
Imperative.
Yeah, to providing an accurate representation of what the fan base truly believes to be the number 1 anime and the subsequent best ranked anime as well.
So, out of curiosity, because we are talking about Promised Neverland, do you want to know what the score is between the 2 seasons?
According to MyAnimeList.
Yep, according to MyAnimeList. Until we talk about another website, we are going to just talk about
Yeah. Okay. Season 1, I'm going to say, was an 8.75.
You're darn close, an 8.5.
An 8.5. Okay. Pretty good.
Season 2.
I'm going to say season 2 was a 4.9.
I wish. It was a 5.28.
Okay, still pretty close. Within
still pretty bad.
But awful.
If you were to aggregate both of those seasons together, you'd get a 6.89.
Yeah.
Like that's not a good show.
Yeah, exactly.
But
but again, that is the downside. There's an upside and a downside to it, right? Because Frieren is the example right now of the upside to ranking it by season, in that Frieren is now the top ranked anime. The downside is that if season 2 and subsequent seasons that come out for Frieren are truly awful, then it's not actually the best anime. You're just saying season 1 of this one anime is the best anime of all time, which makes no sense, right? So again, that's partly why I think the ranking system is a little dumb, just in that respect. The other respect is, as we've said many a times about other category, other ranking systems, other award shows, like other things that basically give out prizes to anime, is that it really at the end of the day is just like a popularity contest. Right.
It is, until you do look at the top 10 and realize Gintama's on this list 3 times, and if you expand it to 11, it's on there 4 times.
Yeah.
And it's been ranked or rated less than what even Friren's been rated. It has 628,000 ratings, while Frieren is sitting at 674,000.
Which,
and the other seasons of Gintama only get lower. Like, one of the movies is 149, and it's the number 6 thing on Mal.
I mean, at that point, there should be like a threshold, right? It needs to have a certain amount of votes. But again, regardless, but that brings up a good point that I wanted to address as well, which is when we had made a video on it that Frieren had took the first spot, people were like, oh, MyAnimeList is trash. It's not actually accurate. And then people also chimed in to be like, what the hell is Steins Gate? Who the hell's ever watched Gintama? And it's like, yeah, I mean, you probably have never heard of it if you're like a newer anime fan. Like, that's fair, right? But that was kind of the purpose of MyAnimeList, was to highlight the anime that people might not have known about, right? That's why the top 10 has been dominated by these anime that, the newest one was before Frieren took the first spot, right? And we had the whole, surge of Oshinoko and Kaguya-sama. Before all of that, the top 10 was predominantly anime that came out over the last 10 years or something.
Do you want me to go through the top 10 for you?
I would want to know the newest anime other than Frieren in the top 10.
That is going to be Bleach, 1,000 Year Blood War.
Okay, so we have Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War up there. Well, that's good to see.
And then after that, you have Gintama the Final, which is a movie, which came out in 2021.
Which, that's the one that has 100...
It has 149,000 votes.
Yeah.
And then before that was Season 3, Part 2 of Attack on Titan. And then you get, I think the next closest was another Gintama, and then...
Yeah.
Outside of Gintama, I think the top show was 2014, and that was Hunter x Hunter. That's when it ended. It started in 2011.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
I think like the top anime list should really just be completed series. I think it makes it more accurate, and I think it better highlight because like Gintama would be up there. Gintama would be a clear winner up there based on how well all the seasons have ranked. Right. Same with Full Metal
right,
Alchemist. Same with Hunter x Hunter. Attack on Titan, maybe. Could be potentially, but yeah, it. There's a lot of issues with my anime list, but it's always nice to remember that it is a great resource to just go and look to see what people are watching, what people's thoughts are, and try to find new anime as well. It's unfortunate that it's kind of turned into a battleground of just shouting as loud as possible about why your opinion about this one anime should matter the most at the end of the day, on top
yeah,
of the millions of others that are just like you doing the exact opposite or the same. So,
yeah. And just kind of to side note from that, we there are more sites out there
oh yeah,
from my anime list, and that's kind of the second point of this topic that I want to talk about, because we say that we want these more specialized lists, these more like, hey, these are completed series, these are not like best seasons, etc. And to my knowledge, nothing like that really exists. The closest thing we probably do get is Trends, and it's really
hmm
just because it goes over what's the best thing this current season. I don't know if I guess it doesn't really necessarily have like a top list chart. It just has week to week top
yeah,
charts. Like and it has like a seasonal top chart, but that's about it. Like it doesn't really have like an overall chart. It just has specialized weekly rankings for anime characters, like female male characters, couples, openings, endings, etc.
hmm
Like it's very specialized to the point where this doesn't help. I mean, it doesn't help. This is just for the weekly people. This isn't for the people who are like, I need a recommendation. What is like the best completed series? So that's the closest thing we have. And then the other site that I do want to talk about that I think could do well, could break into the stratosphere of like taking over a MAL, but their UI is so god awful and trying to find it is not great, and that's Anime News Network. I think that
yeah,
the only reason that they would have a great opportunity is because, to my knowledge, and to I know for you and I, when we were doing the anime news segments weekly, Anime News Network was our like number one spot that we just went to see what came out this week, what was the news, what was going on.
yeah,
And they do have a ranking system, but it is god awful to find. You literally have to click a like in this top bar that has your options of where you can go to this website. You have news, views, new anime, encyclopedia, forum, MyANN, or about. Which one do you think you would click to find the list?
I mean, I know what the appropriate guess is, but my actual guess would be my ANN.
No, it is encyclopedia.
Oh, it's not even where I thought. I thought it might have been an about then. It's an encyclopedia.
Yeah, it's an encyclopedia. It's your encyclopedia to anime, and they have from here search. They have like a search bar for anime. They have a search bar for manga, but then they have top 10 latest simulcast, licensed, latest in Japan, upcoming TV series, movies, OVAs, etc.
That's
When you do click the
weird.
top 10, it brings you to this shitty looking list, like on my monitor right in front of me and blinding me right now. If you're watching the video, you can kind of just see my face aglow. It is not even taking up half of the monitor. Like it is literally scrunched up to the left side of the screen. It's not
Jeez.
centered. It's just on the left side of my screen, not even taking up half of it, and a quarter to maybe a fifth of that what's on my screen are advertisements for like news articles or legitimate advertisements. But like if I feel like if they made this a bit easier to follow and find and fill out, because I've tried filling out my ratings for my anime list. Like I tried taking everything from Mal to my anime list, and it's nearly fucking impossible.
Yeah.
Like their UI is just bad. But I mean, they do have a lot of things that I like, in which they have a lot of lists that I would have never thought about. Like you had already specified, like, and we both have really specified what type of lists we would like to see from Mal.
Mhm.
But there are lists that are on Anime News Network that I would have never thought of. Granted, yes, they have the top 10 best rated, but they also have the top 10 worst rated. They have the best top 10 best rated as like a weighted average.
Mhm.
So meaning like depending on how many people voted to like the ranking, it's got a rating via that. So it's got a, you know, hey, this is categorically the best rated show, but this is also categorically the best rated show with a weighted average of like however many people voted.
Yeah.
But then you also have the top 10 most popular, which is the amount of votes that it has, like people voting on it. Top 10 most viewed, which is, again, they're searching, like you're searching for a show. This is the top show that was been searched for. The top 10 most underrated, the top 10 most overrated, and then lastly, the top 10 most diverging opinions, meaning what's the plus minus differential between the highest voted rating of that show and the lowest rating.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I think that that's really kind of a cool concept. Like these are things that we didn't think about, but at the same time, their UI makes it damn hard to like find and just kind of navigate and figure out what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
Because while they have like the header of like this is what it is and then they have the list, it's not until after the list says it's like, hey, this is why this is what the list is. Like this is what weighted means, this is what most viewed means or seen by, etc.
Mhm.
So like it kind of just gives an explanation after the fact and it kind of just looks all messy. So
Yeah. Well,
it is what it is.
the nice thing too about Anime News Network, one, I think it's a Canadian based group that runs it for the for at least for the North American audience. But the nice thing too is that they do provide weekly. No, I shouldn't even say weekly, daily. They update the like what just aired episode and like feedback and reviews of that episode, and then they'll provide weekly ratings from Japan, like which shows, not just like anime that's coming out, like which shows airing that last week in Japan were rated the highest in terms of like most watched. So you get
Again, I would have never known that.
yeah, so you get those stats as well. I mean, they're in the news and like articles section, which is probably why most people don't find that. But having that additional layer of information when it comes to currently airing anime in Japan as well is super. It's interesting to see just like what airing is being like heavily viewed episode to episode too, right?
Right.
And then getting kind of those immediate instant feedback reviews from the industry, like on what happened in the episode, how was it portrayed, was the animation good, was there any like sticking points here and there. You know, you get a nice synopsis, assuming that you're watching it and you're not spoiling it for yourself when you're reading it. It's a nice synopsis to kind of get your own thoughts and feelings around too. So that's, I mean, big ups for Anime News Network in that regard too. I mean, they do produce, God, if I had to guess, 20 plus articles a day just
Yeah,
talking
and
about stuff. So
I did look it up. They are Canadian. They
Aha.
are headquartered in Canada. However,
Thanks.
the owner of Anime News Network, or just kind of like the parent company, is actually Katakawa
yeah,
Corporation.
yeah, I assume that there was some connection to like a Japanese outlet, because
Yeah.
they get stories pretty quickly, and you can tell when the stories start and when the stories end during the day on like what they're being fed from Japan, because it's like all the
Yeah,
articles come out
this
at
is
like
true.
like very early Eastern Standard Time, and then they end like around like 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and you're like, well, there you go. that's all they got in them. So
Yeah.
but no, I mean that site is a great resource for daily updates on everything you can imagine when it comes to like anime, manga, video games, live action stuff, just general news too that relates to the anime and manga industries. Just yeah, it's a very helpful site. I just only wish that their ranking system or their like voting system for anime was a little bit more polished.
Yeah. because it is definitely a bit messy.
Yeah.
But anyways, let us know. Do you guys use Mal? Do you use AniTrends, Anime News Network, or do you use a website that we don't even know about? Because I know that there's a bunch of there's a bunch of them out there that we just are ignorant to and just don't know
Tons.
about that we probably could have included. But let us know what your opinions are. Let us know if you enjoyed Freerun over the season 1 over all of FMAB. But we greatly appreciate you guys joining us this week. I know it's a bit of a shorter episode, but we didn't want to droll on too long talking in circles about all this because we could, but we won't. So thank you again. We greatly appreciate it. We will be back next week with a brand new episode. So until next time, Spark Triumph. We'll see you then.